Hey everyone. We're always told that empathy is a soft skill. But what if that's completely wrong? What if it's actually your sharpest, most powerful competitive edge? In this explainer, we're going to break down the playbook for turning empathy from a vague idea into a measurable, high impact business strategy. Just think for a second about the last truly awful sales call you were on. I bet they just launched right into a list of features and specs, didn't they? But what if the real secret to closing deals isn't about what you're selling, but about how you make the other person feel? That's the big idea we're digging into today, that the most powerful tool in your arsenal is genuine human connection. So here's our game plan. First, we'll tackle the why, the huge strategic advantage that empathy gives you. Then we'll get super practical, looking at what it actually sounds like in action, a 90-day plan to build that skill, how to measure it, and finally, a toolkit you can literally use on your very next call. All right, let's dive in with the empathy advantage. And just to be clear, this isn't about being fluffy or nice. This is about being smart and strategic. Let's look at the hard data that turns empathy into an absolute business superpower. The business case is it's a no-brainer. When customers feel truly heard, deals just move faster, with way less friction. When you solve their actual deep-down problems, of course your win rates and deal sizes are going to go up. It also has a huge impact on retention and what's called net revenue retention. Basically, your existing customers not only stick around, but they spend more. And look, in a crowded market where everyone's product looks the same, this is the one thing your competitors can't just copy. And this is the fundamental shift we're talking about. You stop having these transactional back and forth conversations, and you start having these collaborative discoveries. You stop just selling a thing, and you start building relationships that are so strong that your customers basically become your best salespeople. Okay, so we get why it's so important. But what does empathy actually look like? What does it sound like on a Tuesday afternoon call? Let's move on and break this down from a big concept into concrete, observable behaviors that you can actually see and hear. Oh man, this slide right here, this is the whole ballgame. On the left, you've got the typical salesperson asking about features. But on the right, the empathetic seller is asking about urgency and impact. Think about it. Why now gets to the real motivation. And what happens if nothing changes? Well, that uncovers the true, painful cost of doing nothing. You're not just having a different conversation. You're solving a completely different and much more important problem. So how do you actually do this? Well, it's not some kind of abstract art. It's a process, a 5-step loop you can actually learn. It all starts with curious questioning, focusing on impact. That naturally leads to active listening, where you repeat back what you heard to show you get it. From there, you can do something really powerful, emotional labeling. Just acknowledge the feeling behind their words. Then you tie it all back to business outcomes and, crucially, you ask for permission before you dig any deeper. See? It's a complete, repeatable process. Just look at how simple and powerful this one phrase is. It sounds like this has been frustrating. You're not trying to solve anything yet. You're not pitching. You're just acknowledging their feeling. You're showing them you're not just hearing the words, you're hearing the experience. That's how you build an instant bridge of trust. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how in the world do you actually build these skills across an entire team? That brings us to our roadmap, a really clear, time-bound 90-day plan. This isn't a one-day workshop and you're done. It's a journey, broken into 3 phases. The first 30 days are all about laying the foundation. Workshops, role-playing, getting the basics down. The next 30 days are about real-world practice, like having your sales team shadow customer support calls to really feel the customer's pain. And then, in the final 30 days, you scale it by building these habits right into your CRM and getting the team to coach each other. If there's one thing to really take away here, it's this. Developing empathy isn't magic. It's not about trying to give your team a personality transplant. It's a skill. It is a muscle that can be built through a structured, deliberate process just like any other. But of course, let's talk about what the leadership team really cares about, the numbers. Because in business, if you can't measure it, it doesn't really count, does it? So how do we get from just good vibes to proving a solid return on investment? Let's get into the metrics. So you're going to want to track 2 types of indicators. Think of leading indicators as the cause. These are the real-time behaviors, like the sentiment score on a call or how fast you follow up. Then you have lagging indicators, which are the effect, the long-term business results like win rate, deal size, and customer satisfaction. You really need both to see the full story. Okay, now, what do you think this number represents? It is one of the most powerful and simplest metrics you can possibly track. Yep, it's the target for how much time a salesperson should spend listening on a discovery call, more than 60%. This simple little benchmark forces a massive shift from pitching to understanding. So ask yourself, are your reps hitting that number, or are they doing all the talking? All right, let's get super practical now. It's time for my favorite part of this playbook, the actual tools and scripts you can take away and put into practice on your very next call. Let's break down this paraphrase plus emotional label technique. It's so good. Part 1, you summarize the business problem you heard. Delays are causing customer churn. Part 2, you label the emotion behind it. That must be frustrating. And then you check for accuracy. Boom. In one sentence, you validated their experience and proved you're actually listening. It's incredibly effective. And here's another one, the permission to probe. This is so smart. Before you ask that tough, potentially uncomfortable question, you just ask for permission. It seems like a small thing, but what it does is create psychological safety. It shows respect and makes the customer way more likely to open up about what's really going on. And for all you managers out there, how do you make this stuff stick? With this simple coaching loop. You observe a real call, you take 5 minutes to reflect on what went well, you practice one specific skill in a quick role play, and then you measure the improvement on the next call. It's simple, repeatable, and it works. So let's bring it all home with one final actionable tool. This is your pre-call gut check. Before you hop on that next call, just run through this list in your head. Are you actually prepared? Are you ready to open by asking for permission? Have you mentally committed to listening more than you talk? Do you have a plan to paraphrase and label their emotion? And are you ready to lock in clear next steps? This is the little checklist that ensures you walk into every single conversation with the right mindset. Which really leaves us with just one final question. Now that you've got the playbook, how are you going to turn your next conversation from a boring old pitch into a genuine discovery?